If life is such a dream, then you know I'm living lucid. You gotta be like water, so you know I'm living fluid. If I talk about it, then you know that I'ma do it. And if I get a shot, then you know that I'ma shoot it. And if I'm gonna fall, I don't really need a cushion. If love, peace, and hope is really what I'm pushing, you gotta trust the process and surrender to the flow. Sunlight and water's all you really need to grow. I really live this shit, I don't do it off a show. Sunbathing, getting energy through my fro. Look at the bigger picture when you looking at your life. No such thing as wrong, no such thing as right.
I was like, I'm gonna play that off. Play it off. Yeah. 2, 3, stand up, fall again to make it look real intentional. Okay, we gravy?
I don't think I've ever seen anybody do that.
I'm gonna do that next time. Right. I know next time I fall, I'm gonna be doing some push-ups.
Can you do that to the kids? That'd be so funny. Like, you know when gym teachers used to just do weird shit, like, and they're like, "Oh God, here he goes again, pretending to fall."
He extra. He ain't got enough papers to grade. He ain't got no papers to grade. All right, y'all. What's up? It's your boy Sunrise the Divine here at Something New Under the Sun. We are actually live from Phoenix right now. As you can tell, the setup is different. We're not at Def Noodle Studios. We're here at Phoenix. And I got another special guest with me. Hey, everybody I guess I can't hear y'all make some noise, but I can hear you in my head. Make some noise, snap it up, keep the energy positive for Rissa Vibes.
Hey, I'm here.
Hey,
I heard the people cheering. Just
you
so
heard
you know.
them?
Yeah, I heard the spirits. You know, the ancestors are like, yeah.
I heard them from all time. You know, there's people like 200 years from now watching this. I heard them all. Yeah, you know.
Yep.
Like our descendants are checking in on this.
You know they really are.
Yeah. So, yeah, y'all, we're here. In Phoenix. You're like, why you at Phoenix with Something New Under the Sun? Because I'm officially on tour. Hey. Yeah, I'm on tour right now. My second Trap Chi tour of the year. If you remember episode 1, we gave you all the info about Trap Chi. We told you about the Trap Chi tour, the festivals. Rissa was also at Disclosure Fest.
Yeah.
You know, we talked a lot about Disclosure Fest on a lot of episodes. Rissa was there.
Yeah, it was a fun
time. Now, in this current era of life, I decided to go on tour again this past Monday that we just had, which was October the 17th, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
October the 17th. Yep.
I had the first Trap Chi event here in Phoenix. Yeah. Big shout out to Rissa. She helped me out lock in the space. Big shout out to Abundant Space.
Yes, Abundant Space.
Man, powerful space. We had a Trap Chi class. It was amazing. I was super geeked about it. How'd you feel about it?
Amazing. I really liked everything, and the community soaked it up. Mm-hmm. They loved it. They've never seen anything like that before. You know what I mean? And so I kept having people that have come to a lot of events that I've been to, and the community, and they're just like, I didn't even know this existed. Like, this is amazing. This is so fun. So I'm like,
we busting worldwide.
Yeah,
we going through, we getting through the motions.
It was a portal for sure.
Yeah, it was a portal, y'all. So, yeah, y'all, I'm going to be traveling for the next couple weeks. I think actually I'm going to still be on tour by the time this episode comes out.
Nice.
The podcast episodes are finally catching up to real time. I recorded like 8 pre-record, and then I just was releasing them every week.
That's dope.
And then there was a lot of weeks I missed recordings, which is why I'm glad I pre-recorded.
Yeah. Hey.
And now we're catching up. I think in a couple of weeks we're going to be pretty much recording on a weekly basis.
Nice.
The episode's going to come out that week. And so for all of you who are just new to the channel, episode 9 is your first episode of Something New Under the Sun. Something New Under the Sun is a podcast where we bring to you ideas, philosophies, lifestyles, way of lives, ancient techniques or thoughts that have either been forgotten or just not really covered in the mainstream media, and topics that are kind of taboo, and just, topics you would have to kind of dig and dive for. With this platform, we're bringing it all to the front lights. And that's Something New Under the Sun, episode 9, Feeling Divine.
Hey.
We actually just recorded a podcast episode for Rissa's podcast.
Yep, Sex and Synergy.
Sex and Synergy. Yep. Tell us about it.
Man, Sex and Synergy, it's just an opportunity for you to learn about the importance of the synergy aspect in connection to sex and sensuality, the spiritual soul level aspects of connection in that way. So we educate, we entertain, we deliberate and discuss things that, again, are like what you're saying, taboo, but more surrounding the sex and the synergy of community. And we bust some myths, and it's a great time. It's a great time.
Yeah. So that actually is going to be the topic of today's podcast too. We're going to talk more about sexual energy, the chi flow. I've been studying it a lot, and we just had a great conversation about it. But before we get into that, can you just tell the people a little bit about who you are, what you do, what you get into? You know, give us a little
What's
something.
up, y'all? Yeah, my name is Rissa Vibes, and I consider myself a mystic and a hippie. I call myself a hippie vixen. That was my latest album. But I'm a musician with magic, you know what I mean? And I use music to uplift and heal the world and inspire higher vibrational lifestyle and exchange and communication. But I'm also a professional intuitive, and I teach people intuition development as well. So I'm really, really big on empowering people to activate their divine potential, their divine purpose through whatever modality of creation they choose.
Yeah.
And I set example through just living my life that way too. you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Powerful. I like
And I'm
that.
a counselor at the School of Sauce. Shout out to the School of Sauce.
Shout out to the School of Sauce.
Because we both be teaming up on Tuesdays at the School of Sauce. He does his trap chi, and I do counseling like an hour later after it ends. And we be getting the whole community lit up there. So.
Yes, you got some of the faculty of the School of
Yes.
Sauce. If y'all remember, we had Sauce Scott and Perp 30 on episode 3 of Something New Under the Sun. I'll cue it up right here. But go check out episode 3. It was a powerful build on the School of Sauce and the American education system and just the education system in general. And then Sauce dropped some bars at the end. So go check out that podcast episode. But yes, doing your counseling vibes at the School of Sauce. Thank you for that work. You know, we need it. We need it.
Thank you. Yeah, it is important. It's so important.
Yeah, go talk to a counselor, y'all. If y'all ain't talking to no counselors or no therapists, I still need to get me a therapist. You know what I mean?
Hey, come to the counseling hours. We got you.
You right. You right.
You got us.
I got y'all. Y'all feel like y'all already my counselors. I be talking so much.
Right. It's okay. We receive it.
My mouth so much.
I'm a double Gemini, so I don't know how you can out.
No, you do talk. You do talk a lot too. And that's the thing. We both talk a lot. And we both
have podcasts. It's like we talk so much we had to.
We had to get a podcast. We like, let me put this. We can do something with this.
Everybody's sick of hearing us talk. It's like somebody gonna listen today.
Right.
Okay.
They're like, you can go record, right? Talk to the mic.
Hey.
So let's get into this. This topic of sacred energy exchange and sexual energy and chi and all this stuff. Like I said, y'all, we just had a great hour-long build about it.
Yeah.
And so we're going to touch a couple topics. And
where do we want to start?
Where do we want to start? How has your experience been with sex after your spiritual awakening?
That's a great question because it's definitely different.
Yeah.
I would say before my spiritual awakening, I was I guess this hasn't changed. I was a very sexual being, very in touch with my sexual energy, my ability to feel stimulation in all sensory ways, right? And I enjoyed that. And I also kind of knew that I had some kind of power there, right? Like there was something that I would notice patterns of my sexual relationships or the way people reacted or responded to my sex energy. And I started to realize there was some kind of power there. But it wasn't until after my spiritual awakening that I became responsible with it. And I started to understand the importance of that and what was really going on. Because back then, before the spiritual awakening, I was just like, okay, I'm a sexual woman. Like I'm a, you know, a little bit of a rebel to what would be termed like the normal sex roles of a woman, to just be like, you know, very one tracked with sex, and like, you know, just not really, maybe more coy or shy or timid, and things like that. I was very bold and boisterous with my sexual energy, you know. But like I said, when I woke up and really activated my higher level consciousness, I realized that sex power needs to be protected, and it needs to be directed, and just, you know, I had to be more responsible for myself, And I wasn't crazy promiscuous, but I was more so not discerning of who I was sharing sex with. You know, I was just like, oh, like I have a strong sexual appetite. Let me just go feed that. Right. But it wasn't until after that I realized, like, oh, that's probably not the best practice, right? It's not sustainable. Like, it's not sustainable. And it's actually like would make people go legit crazy. Like I used to have like low key stalkers, and like or boyfriends that turned into like low key stalkers, because it was just like, and I didn't understand what it was until I realized. I was like, oh shit, Yoni had him like really acting crazy, you know. And I need to probably make sure I don't exchange with people that could potentially.
See, I ain't gonna hit him with the final boss move no more. He gonna get that one. The last time I hit him with that final boss move, is crazy.
Yeah, crazy. And then I gotta deal with crazy when I could have just avoided crazy by doing some discerning work from the jump. You know what I mean? Because sex is healing. You know, so if you give somebody medicine that's curing them of a dis-ease, and then you take it away cold turkey, it's not gonna be good, you know. It's not gonna be good.
It's not a good look.
I think that's the biggest thing that I noticed in the difference between before and after my spiritual awakening with sex.
Okay, that's amazing. That was a powerful answer. Personally, I've noticed kind of the same, like more intentional. I noticed that I'm more intentional.
Yeah.
I noticed that I take my time more.
Yeah, that's important.
I noticed that I listen more. Before there was an anxiety to it, kind of like not like anxious, like it's making me nervous or anything, but like when I used to have sex before my spiritual awakening or anything, I would just be so like, let's get to it. Like, let's get to it. Let's do it. Let's go. Let's have fun. Let's keep going. Let's get done. Let's restart. Like, it was just always like, you got to get there. Like, let's go. And instead of like just breathing and enjoying the experience and knowing that we're getting there. We are there. We're going crazy. We're having fun. There's variations. Yeah. And just being more accepting of that, right? And so that helped me not feel as like anxious, because sometimes excitability can feel like anxiousness too.
Definitely.
Sometimes you could think you're anxious, but you're just so excited. And so I've learned to like take my time, and that's created greater experiences for me, alongside of kind of what we was talking about on your podcast, learning more about sexual chi, learning more about energy exchange and retaining your seed, and being intentional with your partner, like setting intentions and stuff. And so that's really changed my life. I guess what I want to ask you is, with your awareness of the esoteric aspects of sex, what are some, what do I want to call them? I guess, what are like some practices or some things that are in your bag now, like that are like, you have like we all have like a suitcase of like rituals or routines or habits or things we do. Like, what are some of the things that you notice that is now a part of your routine, or now a part of like it's just something you got to do? Like, some people brush their teeth with their right hand. You know what I mean? Just like, what is some practices or whatever that you've implemented after knowing more about sacred energy exchange and the actual chi of it and the energy and stuff?
Yeah, I would say discernment, going back to kind of the beginning of this, is like the discernment, of who to exchange that with. And that includes like my own awareness of self. Because if I'm discerning very, very intentionally who I'm going to exchange with, I also want to discern how I am and what state of being I'm in, and why I'm actually going out to exchange that in that way, right? Because if you're exchanging from a place, like if anything, you know, you do it unconsciously or unintentionally, or do it to be a quick fix to something, or a way to fulfill something that you could actually go get in a lot more sustainable way, you know, you need to be mindful of that. But then I'd also say, just like emotional connection.
Yeah.
I think for me, and assessing that synergy and assessing that ability to know that I'm emotionally stable and that person is emotionally stable, or just even emotionally intelligent as well, right? Because it's got to be both. Because otherwise I feel like that can really create unexpected issues. And that can just snowball into a whole bunch of stuff. So yeah, discernment, emotional connection, and fun, like still keeping fun without being reckless, right?
Okay.
Like fun and playfulness without being reckless. You know, that's a big one.
Okay. And so what just came in my head as you were explaining it, I was definitely listening and everything, but what came in my head was to kind of explain to the viewers what I mean by like awareness of sexual energy. So when I'm asking her like, how does sex change for you after your awareness or consciousness of it, what I mean is a lot of us have sex mindlessly, right? And a lot of us are very mindless with our sexual energy and the way we utilize and use our sexual energy. A lot of us just toss it around and share it with everybody, and it's not really as sacred anymore as it used to be because we're kind of desensitized, right? So when I say mindfulness of your sexual energy, I'm asking like, there's a group of people, you know, who have become aware of this aspect that the energy is, or remembered that this energy is very sacred and we need to be mindful. And then there's whole communities that practices that help you learn how to utilize and wield this sexual energy. So when I'm saying being more conscious of your sexual energy, or when I make that statement, that's what I mean. Like people being aware of the Chi One and then starting to learn how, like you said, you use discernment, you use emotional connection. And so that makes me want to go back into responding to your answer. And so like I said, I've read a lot of books over the years, done a lot of practices, a lot of studies with sacred energy exchange and just the energetic aspect of sex. And one of the most prominent things that I've read is about what you said about having that emotional connection, because so there's 3 major centers to the body. So we have our chakras and stuff, but then we also have like and another like system in our body, energetic system. We have what we call our Dantian. And so that's one energetic center, energetic cycle of the body. That's usually where the energy is conjured up. You know what I mean? Where the energy is created. It's a raw energy. A most powerful energy force comes from that root area. And that's one center. Then we also have a center in the heart place. And then we also have a center in the head. Right? And so in this book by Mantak Chia that I'm reading, or that I've read, he goes to explain how in order to have the most harmonious sexual experience or energetic exchange with somebody, all 3 of those centers have to be in harmony and connected.
All 3
so
of them,
most of the time it's just been a theme where we've had our root connected. Everybody has been energetically horny, you know what I mean, just horny and just connecting at the root. Sometimes when you're in a relationship, you might hit all 3. You might get the heart. Most of the time when you're in a relationship, you're definitely hitting the heart connection and the root connection. But sometimes in a relationship, not even the heart connection or the mind connection. You know? So it's important that you connect on every level. Like you connect with the root, the primal aspect, the animal urges of you, but also at the same time you have that love. You actually have that love, and that connection is there. And then you have that connection with the mental and that energetic center of the mind, being like that you guys have the same understanding. You're being intentional with like your mind and doing your best to not even be in your mind.
Right.
And once you have all three of those energetic centers connected, not even once you have them all three, it's just that when you're having an experience, it's just best that all three of those be in harmony and connection for the best sexual experience, or the sacred energy exchange experience. And so that just sparked in my head. Maybe I'll pop a picture up. I actually was explaining this book on TikTok.
Really?
I have a series.
Oh my gosh.
It was one of the series that blew me up.
TikTok.
Yeah. It was one of the series that got my numbers up on TikTok.
That's lit.
And I'll just put a clip on it when I'm editing, but I had the actual picture of the like beings of like where do you see the connections.
They connect.
And that video went crazy. It got over 150,000 views.
Dang.
Like
people want to know this stuff.
Yeah,
because it's important. They feel it, but they don't. They just don't understand what's happening. You know, that education piece is huge.
And it's such a journey. Like I was saying before on the podcast, like learning these things about sex and about your energy and how to wield your energy. It's a process, and you have to be gentle with yourself because you're going to do a whole lot of reprogramming. Yeah.
And reprogramming is not easy.
It's not. You got these heavy programs that's been installed in you since you were like a kid, you know? And it gets crazy.
It does.
You know?
And I would say too, because, you know, when you're talking about the Dantian, like I accidentally activated my Kundalini. Okay. Like when I really like had my spiritual awakening, I didn't even know what was going on. Like, I was just like, I'm going to meditate all the time because this is fun, you know? And I'm like learning all these scientific aspects to meditation and intuition development, because I had a very strong intuitive gift when I was a kid, but I shut it down out of fear because like at some point in my childhood, like 12 or something, I was like, okay, I'm done. Like I keep seeing these ghosts. Like this is not an imaginary friend. This is not like, I must be crazy. Like go away. I'm scared, you know? And then finally they went away. So when I started to get back into my awareness of spirituality and these gifts, that's when I was like, oh, I got to learn everything there is to know about intuition. And I had realized it had been causing me anxiety, like suppressing my gifts. And so I was learning everything I could. And then I was meditating like all the time, learning about the Dantian, feeling it, like holding them, like closing them, building the energy up. And then I literally activated my Kundalini and didn't understand what was going on. My body was like buzzing all crazy. Like I was feeling multiple aspects of orgasmic pleasure. Like I was on fire, it felt like in every way. Right. And then my heart and my third eye and up, like it was just so wide open, but I didn't have the consciousness or the understanding of it. Right. So I think that's so key, because people sometimes will access this stuff, but they have no idea what's going on. And then they're still acting out of root, but they've accessed even higher things, right? Or they're maybe in their heart space and they're so in their heart and also unconscious to some degree, to where they don't even realize the people they're interacting with aren't at that level. And that creates all this other emotional disturbance or whatever else, you know? So that's huge. I think that's a really big part of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And so for those of you who may be watching and don't know, this might be something new for you. Right. The Kundalini, you know, the Kundalini is basically, in a lot of ancient texts is represented as a serpent, you know what I mean? But it's essentially your dormant, raw sexual, creative. You remember, sexual energy is creative energy that sits at the base of your spine, and we all have it. And some of us, like Rissa, have activated it without even knowing. You know, some of us have activated it and not even know what's going on. But essentially, when your Kundalini activates, it shoots this chi up your spine. And that's why it's represented by a serpent, because of the way it goes up your spine. It's like a snake. And it can basically touch, it goes up your spine through your heart center. And basically the end result, or the end location that it heads to, is basically a part in the back of your brain, right? And so it actually taps in with aspects of your brain that can help you, practice sex magic, activate more things, activate your intuition at greater heights, come to greater foresight, anything. You can use this energy to manifest anything. And so that's just a little bit about the Kundalini. Y'all can look it up. That's kind of like spirit kindergarten, but we here for that. This is something new under the sun. And so once you get all this information about the Kundalini and stuff, and the chi, and you start learning about it, you can actually start to have practice with it. You can start to practice, and say you meet a partner, and they're also with it. Y'all have conversations, y'all are up to learning together, and just practicing different things is very important. And I think it's a conversation that needs to be had often, but also had often like with people who know what they're talking about. Like that's why I like your podcast, because you said like we're bringing people who've like studied this and understand this and understand this and overstand it, because it needs to be a conversation had. Because like we said, there's only like things are over sexualized in America, so it's like super sexualized, or it's like shunned and not talked about. And so that leaves this space to where people are like learning from pornography. And, it just creates a whole bunch of different stigmas that we don't need,
and perpetuates cycles that we've been trying to eliminate,
Exactly.
But we have to eliminate them through new information. And it's really not new information. It's ancient practices,
It's ancient as hell.
It's ancient as hell. Like even I found these cards in Peru.
The Peru cards?
The Peru cards are up front.
They go crazy.
And they go crazy. And I was in Peru. I was actually doing a sacral chakra retreat in Peru. And it's interesting because in Peru, the ley lines that are under Peru are the two dragon serpents. And it's literally all about serpent energy, and they're actually dragons as well. We were doing this sacral chakra retreat there, and I'm like in Peru, and I see these cards. They're like these sexo cards. They're called sexo cards, and they're playing cards, but they're all these like ancient pottery and statues and ancient art of all these like sexual positions. Old school Playboy.
They have magazines. They just made the guys bag on pots. They like, I got a pot right here. This gonna go crazy.
We gonna make this handle into a huge ass dick. Like it's just like wow.
I seen the card. I was like, if my guy was packing like that, was he even pulling any queens?
Right.
Who was making
murdering?
that sacrifice? Who was making that sacrifice? My guy was over his head. I was like, boy.
It's so funny. So this is ancient stuff. The indigenous peoples, the ancients, they've been aware of the power of sex, and they created the cities and the ancient the ancient relics and things with the sex magic. You know what I mean? They didn't have a ton of other stuff to pull off of. They pulled it off of their own sexual energy through thought, creation, communication, connection. This is like,
And remember, sexual energy is creative energy. Creative energy is sexual energy.
Yes, it is.
Every time you get horny, you don't have to have a sexual experience.
Right.
You can actually go do something creative, and you'll notice you'll be putting a lot of energy and effort into it.
Yep.
And so that's why I want to segue into talking about semen retention and just the differences between orgasms between women and men. And men, a lot of times when we orgasm, we just bust a nut, have whatever, and then we move on about our day.
Right.
Women, a lot of the times women have multiple orgasms, and they move on about our day. But I wanted to bring it up because in this day and age, our men have been conditioned to be everybody's been conditioned to be hypersexualized.
Yeah.
But men specifically, it's a crazy attack because we're just been conditioned to just release our seed consistently, whether you're with a partner, whether you're by yourself.
Right.
And it's just very important that we understand and know that when we release our seed, we're releasing a massive amount of not only energy, but of nutrients, vitamins. It's literally called life force. This is the stuff that creates a baby, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm talking to myself as well, because this has been a practice for me on and off. Like I said before, I got Scorpio in four places in my house.
Crazy with the Scorpio
Going
energy.
crazy. The energy is crazy. I'm always trying to have a partner or solo or whatever.
Right.
It's just crazy.
Yeah.
And so this is why I've studied it so much, because I'm like, yo, I'm a very sexual person. And coming into this knowledge has changed my life and changed my experience for the better. And so I just want to say to like the guys, like, yo, practice semen retention, learn about it, study.
Yes.
Get these books by Montauk Chia. I'll put them up in link in the bio. Sure, you could even email. If you shoot me an email, I'll email back in like 2020 COVID when we had all the time in your hands. Yo, I was going viral. I told you my TikTok was going viral. Yeah. I was sending out the ebook to everybody.
Oh,
you know,
fire.
they was all the youth, and I liked it because it was the youth asking for the books.
And that's powerful. I mean? Yeah.
And so just get these books, y'all. Montauk Chia. I'll put the pop-ups. They're ebooks. They're out here, and it's just like, let's have more dialogue.
Yeah.
You know? Let's have more dialogue around our sexual experience and just learning how to wield this energy and how to even use sex magic greater. So you said earlier you use sex magic to manifest a lot, right? Mm-hmm. And so what does sex magic look like to you? Like, how do you, like, not saying you got to get vulgar or any details or anything, but like, what does sex magic look like to you? If somebody's like, well, I want to practice, or if a queen is like, well, I want to see how, you know, what I mean? How is that for you? So
that's a great question. Well, I'll start with more of the subtle versions of sex magic, because even like you were describing on my podcast, like sex energy is more than just physical, right? And it can be a lot of things that aren't as physical as you may be assuming they are, right? And what I've noticed recently, I'll speak from a place of where I'm at right now, I've been really recognizing, again, that responsibility piece with it, and how much I get from channeling that my sex energy into things like the song we're working on, or, you know, an idea for an extension of my business and brand, or, assistance in a big mission that I feel like I'm here to do on this planet, right? And so sex magic to me is knowing when physical sex is your ally and when it might not be, because it can be, you can channel that energy into other things. And then once you decide what type of sex magic you want to actually participate in, physical or just creative or whatever, then it's about really creating the sacred space. It has to be a sacred space. And what I mean by that is like intentional, synergistic, there's harmony there in the energy, harmony of awareness, harmony of intention, harmony of just the energy, right? And then a very specific level of pleasure, like a very expand, I shouldn't even say specific, just expanded level of pleasure with like an especially big focus on, as much pleasure as you can have, right? Because if you're not if you don't have that desire in it, or that ability to know that you can go farther than you can fathom in pleasure, then you're also kind of limiting your intention, right? You're limiting your manifestation. And that's a big part of manifestation. Even outside of sex magic, manifestation is all built off of your imagination. And so if you aren't allowing yourself to expect or receive even the unfathomable level of whatever it is you're achieving, then you're instantly limiting yourself.
Exactly.
So I really think pleasure, because sex is such a pleasurable experience, and that's what sex is kind of, that's like the result, the motivation, right?
Yeah.
like think about how much, like just put as much pleasure you can into the intention, whether it's, you know, you're wearing something that makes you feel like the hottest goddess ever, right? Or whether you're setting the room with candles and different like textures and fabrics or aromas, you know, like how can you bring even more of what you love and what makes things pleasurable to you into the experience, because that's going to make the dream manifest so much more potently, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I've utilized sex magic a lot too. I've manifested a bunch, you know what I mean? I've been with partners and I've had times where we've both visualized and utilized the same thing, and it's powerful.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you, it's powerful. You'll call it in. It'll be here.
You'll feel the energy shift too. Like I can feel when I'm like coming from a place of this is the intention, and then there's something just shifted.
Yeah.
Like now I'm in the reality that's so much more closer to the manifestation, because it feels like it's here, or that I'm already it. Right. Yeah.
And I think it's very important too to start learning about this, because when you start learning about this, you'll naturally start to detox yourself from this toxic, like hypersexual programming that we've all been subject to here in the U.S. You know, damn near any country with technology other than China. You know, they don't play that. No, they really don't play none of that. But like, so it's like when you start naturally looking into this stuff, you'll start to deprogram and reprogram from this hypersexual like mind state, and it's very, very pivotal, because I feel like my homie said this, and I always repeat it: if you can confuse somebody sexually, you can more easily control them. Yeah,
wow, that's real.
You know what I mean?
That's real.
And I just always think about that, and like, look at the day and age we're in. Like, even whether we're talking about sexual experiences between straight people, sexual identifications, anything around sex energy at this time period, there's a bunch of confusion and 100%. Discord about it.
And
right?
It's intensified even in the last like 5 years or more. Probably about 5 years, I'd say I've seen it. Like, purposeful, it seems like, and agendified like confusion.
Yeah. And it's like, it makes it so crazy, because the energy is all like, learning about sexual energy is already a task in itself.
Yeah, it's complex.
Yeah, it's complex.
It goes deep, for real. It gets
really deep. Yeah. It's like an energetic science. It's like the best of both worlds. It's energy, and a lot of it is from the East and stuff, but it's a science, you know? And so it's like, deprogram is really the first, like, mountain you got to climb. That's a mountain, because once you get like to finally starting to deprogramming and understanding, and you're learning this information, it's like, you realize, I really have to study this way more than I am now to even really grasp it, to even really have the results that I desire. And so, I'm just glad we're having this conversation.
Me too.
I think it's conversations like this that help liberate people. You know?
Yeah, and helps them see like what has been off in their life that they kind of knew like intuitively, but they just didn't have the full understanding to really ground into that, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of people know like, something's like, I'm just always upset, or I'm always in this drama shit with somebody, you know, I'm always getting into fights with people, you know, after I have sex with them or whatever. I probably shouldn't be like out here just like, you know, tooting and booting everybody in the fucking club. No. But they don't stop, because they don't really know why that's not like
well, now it's promoted. Right? Now it's like, you know, it's like, body count don't matter.
Right.
And it's like, have sex with as many. For men, it's been pushed.
And it's like the sexual liberation, like gone toxic or more toxic.
The sexual liberation gone crazy.
Yes,
everybody, I'm like, okay, we need order. Okay, y'all, we got it. We was free. Now it is reckless. All right. We need a little. Somebody say no.
gosh.
Something.
Yeah.
Not a roses.
And
and
you think we'd learn from like the 70s, 60s, and 70s and like how they went crazy. And
they
like,
forgot.
Yeah,
People
no.
already forgot.
We
People
about
on
to
TikTok.
replay the cycle. It's like, no, we didn't bring it back to replay it. We brought it back to make it better and to get even more grounded in the higher vibrational expressions of that.
I think there's also too a lot of people who are starting to learn about it, right?
Yeah, I think so too.
Naturally, when you're in this culture of like sex culture, like how we're in,
yeah.
it leads you to a place where you're like, okay, this is not sustainable.
Right, like, okay, I'm done.
I'm
tapped
done.
out.
I'm tired. We can't keep doing this. It gets tired. You get tired.
For real.
And so, also, too, another aspect to that was, I said it earlier, but like pushing men to learn about semen retention, okay?
Yeah.
Because semen retention is so important because you literally are draining your life force at a very excessive rate if you are extremely active or whether that's solo or by yourself. And in America, it's like normalized, like, oh yeah, do that, do your thing, and da-da-da, and all of that. But in a scientific, realistic point of view, you're draining yourself.
Yeah.
You're making it to where anything you do, you just won't be able to do it as much. Now, there's a double side. There's another side to every coin. But essentially, at the rate we're at in America, where they're telling you to have multiple partners, go to the club every weekend, and if not that, then, tap yourself out with some porn or whatever, or solo or whatever. It's just a trick. That's the reason why a lot of us are depressed, the reason why a lot of us aren't hitting our goals like we're supposed to. Your testosterone level drops a great amount when you release. Your willpower drops, your motivation, you get tired, your energy levels, you literally get sick, your eyes, your hair, all of it gets affected.
Yeah.
And so it's just important that we start to reclaim our power back so we can utilize it. Now, I'm not saying don't ever bust, because at the other end is very natural. It's a natural occurrence for the other end, the build up, sometimes you build up, you get overly aggressive, you get all of this and you'll need to release, sometimes when you're practicing semen retention, you might release in your sleep. You might have a wet dream. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is just the body recalibrating itself.
Right.
And so it's just like, but I don't think we got to worry about that. Most motherfuckers is not holding on to their life with their seed at this point in development.
No, they're just busting shots.
Yeah. There ain't too many people that's like, I've gone 700 days, no release. I am now a robot. I feel nothing. I felt everything. Now I feel nothing. And it's
For
just
real,
like,
yeah.
And so it's just like,
There's extremes to everything, but
there's extremes. So I just wanted to reiterate: practice semen retention. See how you feel. Look it up.
Yeah.
We was talking about on the last podcast too, how that you can actually please your partner better when you start learning and you start practicing semen retention and stuff. And it's actually not just a benefit for you as the man, it's also a benefit for the queen and the goddess.
Yeah.
And it gives you the capability to get beyond the physicality.
Yeah. Exactly. Right? And that's so much of what women naturally can experience that men have to practice to experience more. And, that's why women can have multiple orgasms in one session, why they tend to have more of a sexual appetite or a lot more longevity in the bedroom. And it's also important for women to understand, to all my goddesses out there, like, it's super important to be responsible for your own creative energy as well, because you're the container for the creation and you're the container for the seed. And by being the container, if you allow, someone to plant their seed in you and you're not conscious, you're not aware, of their thoughts in that exchange, or the way that they're treating their body, or the way that they're treating themselves, their self-love, their ability to connect to their own spirit, then you're signing up for that kind of information to be seeded into your womb, into your yoni, and that can create dis-ease in you. It can create a distraction from your own creations and manifestations as a creative portal yourself. And so that's why it's so essential for both sides to be aware of this and responsible, and to just have fun learning together. You know, if you don't know, or you know more than your partner, whatever side you're on, like, it's important to learn together and make it something that you both appreciate growing in, because there's levels to this. It's not easy. It's a journey, but the more responsible you can be, just a little bit more every time can truly shift the whole thing for you.
Wow. Yeah. No, that's a fact. That's a fact. Intention is a major tool. Intention is a major tool, because the thoughts help direct the sexual energy. And so the intention and the thoughts are everything. Yeah. You know what I mean? And yeah, it's getting crazy out here. We getting healed. We learning how to feel. We learning how to work with each other more, and just figuring it out and remembering it, right? It's about detoxing from the Matrix. Shout out Sauce Guy with Matrix Drop Out. Matrix Drop Out. And yeah, man, I mean, we've been building for a little bit. What else? Is there anything else I wanted to touch on? I mean, I'm feeling good. I mean, we just had a studio session. We hit the podcast. Before that, we was in the studio recording the track, Fire Track.
Yes. We got some stuff cooking up. Yeah. It's about to be lit.
And what else? We in Phoenix, y'all. We headed to Austin.
Yes.
After that, we headed to Tampa. After that, we headed to Columbus.
Okay.
After that, we headed to Atlanta.
Oh.
After that, we headed to Idaho for a meditation retreat.
Oh, yes.
Then back to Atlanta.
Oh, my gosh.
Then to Costa Rica.
Oh, that international.
No, hold on. Atlanta to Huntington.
Oh, Huntington. You
can't forget hometown.
No, you can't forget that.
Hometown. Huntington to Costa Rica.
Oh, my God.
Costa Rica to Miami.
Woo! Costa Rica to Miami. That part ending on the MIA.
MIA. We gonna have that song. Y'all ain't even heard MIA
yet.
We gonna drop it.
Drop it already, Sunrise.
We might drop it this week.
You got it.
We might drop it.
Week
9 when this episode air, we might drop this episode.
Yo.
We might drop MIA.
That's
we on the tour.
Right,
what they say, we on the world tour.
Hey.
They was funky back then with it. I love them. But yeah, I mean, I think we could rap. We touched in on it, but like you said before, we could build for hours and hours.
We really could.
So many layers to this sexual energy. And there's so many different layers from both angles, right?
Yeah,
from
sure.
From the masculine mind and from the feminine mind.
Yeah.
And so maybe we'll circle back to a part 2 one day.
Yeah.
But I think right now this is a great place to keep it. Tell the people where we can find you.
Yeah. So you can follow my artist page, my music page on Instagram, Madam, MADAM _Rissa, RISSA. You can find me in my spiritual bag at Readings by Rissa on Instagram. And then you can look up www.rissavibes.com for all the plugs on everything: music, spiritual services, coaching, counseling, etc. Yeah, I'm everywhere. And you can look my music up on Rissa Vibes on all streaming platforms.
Yeah. Man, that just made me remember I didn't had every artist that came on do a song or something, but we don't got it set up right now. I just remember I didn't acapella freestyle.
Oh,
on
you
yours.
did.
I know we were supposed to freestyle.
We were in our build bag, yo. We were fresh off the clubhouse and the school of sauce at the sauce spot.
That wasn't the first build either. Oh my God, it's been going crazy.
It's been so crazy.
Okay,
y'all.
so
we do
this
this
gonna be the first episode.
Day.
Go check out her music. Y'all know I usually have the artists do some songs right here, but right now
you want me to sing some?
You can sing acapella.
Yeah, I can sing acapella.
Okay, sing something.
Okay,
right now we got Rissa Vibes about to sing something. I don't know what it's called, but it's about to be fantastic.
I'm gonna drop my Set Me Free joint for a second.
Okay, drop it.
Letting my emotions set me free.
Mm-hmm.
Don't nobody come and check for me. I'm on the road to riches I can't see.
Yeah.
Trusting in a different frequency. And I'm just trying to feel what I want to heal when I want to kill all the drama.
Yeah.
And I've been guided to forgive my mama for all the trauma, clear all the karma.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to be the love, be the love, be the love.
Ooh.
And I'm not willing to give it up, give it up, give it up. Yeah, that's my joint Set Me Free. Check it out on Spotify.
Okay, we had the acapella yet. That's the first acapella on something new.
Had to give you something. I can't just let you be the only episode without it. Nah, I gotta come
I was
through
like,
the
because I
side.
thought I was like, oh, they're gonna be like, why ain't you? Ain't you the first goddess artist? I already had the kings on, and so I'm like, okay. So yes, I'm glad. Oh no,
I'm
actually, no. You're not the first.
Oh, that's
artist. That's a goddess that was on there.
Oh,
My bad.
yeah.
We had Divine Yanni on there, but we didn't have the performance piece set up. Sauce God was the first one. Sauce God was like, let me spit some bars.
Oh, of course.
He set up a whole thing.
I
I'm like,
bet.
everybody who come on gotta
Gotta
do
spit
something.
bars. Yeah. Oh my
so,
God.
yeah, thank you for that.
Absolutely.
Go check her out, y'all. Y'all already know where to find me. You feel me? If you don't, just click the subscribe button below.
That part.
And I'll
Read
be
your
here.
descriptions if you don't know,
read
'cause
the
they're there.
descriptions, like and subscribe. But that's it, y'all. Episode 9, Something New Under the Sun with Rissa Vibes.
Yep.
I'll see you next time. We on the world tour. Donate. Peace and love.
Peace. Hey.
Good.
We did it. That was fun.
Whoop. That was fun.
Skirt.
I'm tired.
I'm tired too. That lavender joint got me stuck. I was like,
I'm like, yep. I want to get more stuff.
like, come